Alright, good morning, afternoon, or evening, everyone. Today I'm going to be covering the Tier 7 Premium Cruiser, the Soviet cruiser Lazo. Here it is. This is for the Fresh Look series. So here we are, where we basically play one game in the ship, re-review it in 2022, and I give you, well, basically just a review on the ship, but in today's meta. So here it is, the Lazo, of course. As we know, quite a popular ship, actually. Quite requested. But anyway, so the Lazo. Let's start off with the armor layout. Of course, before we start off, actually, please do let me know what ships you want to get featured in this series. I know there's a lot of you waiting for particular ships. I will try to cover them all, guys. That's the goal. But of course, we're doing them one ship at a time. So here we are on Lazo. Let's start off with the armor layout. We have 16mm nose armor plus a 20mm icebreaker, which is 0, 25mm deck armor, and then 16 side, and then 16 aft. So basically we have 0 armor on the Lazo. But here's also the Citadel. It's gigantically huge. It's gigantic. It's 100mm, so you can pretty much get smashed. So do be really careful with it. But yeah. If you actually take a look at Lazo, I believe, I don't know, this could be cope, but I think it's very similar to a Chapayev in terms of its design. Obviously Chapayev has more armor, and obviously it's a tier 8, but in terms of like the hull, I believe they're very similar to Chapayev and the Lazo. Otherwise, like in terms of like actual, placements of stuff. Anyway, let's take a look at our commander build. So I'm going to be running Last Stand, Priority Target, Survivability Expert, Concealment Expert, Adrenaline Rush, a Gun Feeder, Grease the Gears, Demo Expert, and Top Grade Gunner. Now this looks like a really weird build for some of you guys. Maybe you're not used to me taking so many low skill points. But on a tier 7 ship like Lazo, I wouldn't really take the high tier points. I would take the low tier ones more often. So because they just don't do as much. So for the equipment, I have Prop Mod 1, Aiming System Mod 1, Engine Room Protection, and I also have Spotting Aircraft Mod 1. Of course, I think you'll be asking, is the eye in the sky, is it worth it on this ship? And to that I do say no, it's not worth it, and I'll explain shortly. But let's cover the camo really quickly before the ship characteristics. The perma camo, this is what it looks like, which you obviously get when you purchase the Lazo straight away because it's a premium ship. And this is the alternate camo scheme for the Lazo. I actually personally prefer the other one. There's just less going on in it, so I do like it. Anyway, so I'm gonna cover the ship's characteristics in port, like you guys have been requesting and you guys have been asking. I have been covering the ship characteristics during this section in the video for you guys instead of covering them mid-game because, well, it's been highly requested and it's been enjoyed after I started doing it. So I'm gonna keep doing it. And of course, for those of you who just want to watch the game straight away, you can skip to the chaptered part in the video. I keep the video chaptered so it's easy for you guys to cover this. Anyway, so for survivability, as we saw the armor layout, you have 39,450 HP, no torpedo protection, of course. Artillery, you have 12 152mm guns with a 9-second reload, 2.2k alpha damage, 14% fire chance, and 25mm of pen. Now, as you know, at tier 8, for example, if we show the Chapayev here, it has the same guns because, well, it just does caliber wise, but the pen is 5mm more stock. This is because at tier 7 light cruisers get less pen than they do at tier 8, so it has 5mm less pen, which is gonna mean quite a lot. It means we won't be able to take IFHE to pen 32 against tier 8 and 9 battleships. You could take IFHE to fight tier 7 battleships, but I wouldn't recommend it either way. In terms of torpedoes, you only have 4km torps, nothing too special. I mean, honestly, you'll probably die before getting them off, so don't try to kill yourself. But there might be a situation where around an island you can torp someone. It has depth charges. Sadly, they're ship-based depth charges, which means they're very hard to use. Obviously, you have to walk over the submarine or assume the submarine's going under you to use them. AA defense, nothing too spectacular, to be honest. Especially since I'm building for Hydro. I wouldn't recommend DFA. I just like having Hydro on pretty much everything. I'm addicted. Maneuverability, it goes 35.2 knots with a speed flag, 9.7 second rudder shift, 890 meter turning circle, so it's quite big, of course. Pretty much the same exact stats as the Chapayev, as we can see here. The same exact stats as Chapayev in terms of maneuverability. And then concealment, 11.6 detection. That is with a full concealment build. Remember, we don't have the concealment module at tier 7. That starts at tier 8. So anyway, that's pretty much the Lazo's ship characteristics. I think we should move over to the game. Alright, so here we are on Nort. This is a standard battle, which means, well, it's damage farm haven. But there's not much damage because, well, there's 2 submarines and there's also a carrier we have to keep in mind. So we're not going to be able to farm those things. But anyway, there's still 4 battleships we can deal with. Actually, a Renowned 44, I believe that's still a test ship. But here we are. So, what's the gimmick of the Lazo, basically, for you guys? It's rapid takeoff spotter plane. So what does that mean? So instead of having a normal spotter plane where you have a long duration plus long cooldown, in this case we have a decent duration, 78 seconds, but we only have a 9.5 second cooldown. Now, why aren't you wanting to take Eye in the Sky, for example, even though you get 2 extra spotter planes? Well, that's because the duration is halved on your spotter plane. So you don't really want that because you'll get 30-second, like 36 or 37-second spotter plane time, which isn't enough, to be honest. Sure, you get a 4-second cooldown, but your cooldown's only 9 seconds, so Eye in the Sky isn't really recommended or worth it at all. Actually, I wouldn't take it. You can take Superintendent if you want an extra spotter plane, but Eye in the Sky is just not good for a ship like this. Now, the Ranger is going to randomly select us, obviously, but this pretty much happens every game where we do get randomly selected, because we are always the first one spotted, somehow, miraculously. But it is what it is, so we're going to lose some HP at the start of the game. There goes our Survivability Expert. But if we didn't have Survivability Expert, we just lose that HP with no questions asked, so it is what it is. Let's go this way. Maybe we can get shots on the Stirpids is what I'm hoping for. But yeah. Alright, so the Stirpids just got spotted, which is cool. Because now we can actually do damage to him. Isn't that wonderful? When something gets spotted, you can actually do damage to it. Now we have a 14% fire chance, which is quite high. But doesn't mean we're gonna get fires, obviously. Because I don't know why. But 14% is quite high, actually. It's quite good. Oh my god, it's an HE Tirpids. Is that the Tirpids that just shot? That's not a Tirpids that just shot. That's Tokachi. Yeah, those are Tokachi shots for sure. So let's walk away. We don't want to get DPM down. I think we go not where our catch-a-lot is, but a bit southward from where our catch-a-lot is. Because I think we can actually farm the Tirpids quite easily from there. Obviously, we're relying on the fact that the Tirpids doesn't rush at us full speed. Because obviously then we have to deal with secondaries, which Lazo isn't really equipped to do or deal with. Also, we have to deal with his big guts. He does overmatch us literally everywhere, so that might also be quite hard. Let's expert loader to AP. Maybe we get to see the Leander again. We are going to rely on carrier spotting here. We can't spot for ourselves. Our concealment isn't good enough. 11.6. We obviously can't outspot Leander. Sadly, the Leander does smoke up, which means we're never actually going to be able to spot him or do anything to him even. So we're just going to have to wait till the Tirpids, I guess, get spotted. Oh, Leander got spotted by carrier there. Barely, but we actually get a shot, which is nice. Tirpids is also coming around the corner, which means we're gonna be able to output some damage on him, which is what we want. We want to start getting some damage, obviously, because we're only on 8,000 damage in 4 minutes. But we haven't been able to really shoot much, so it's not really too bad of a situation. It's not like we're getting dominated yet. We haven't really been shot at, except for the carrier so far. The problem is our spotting here, because I don't see how we're gonna spot. Well, that's the CV, but I don't think he's experienced enough to know what the fighter spotting is, because it is tier 6, so they're not really too experienced. But we'll see. You never know. They could be. Just assuming, though, normally tier 6 players wouldn't know what's going on most of the time. It's okay, of course. Everyone's trying to learn. Alright, so we just got spotted here. That's the Leander spotting us for sure. Means he's playing overly aggressive. We do have a carrier to spot that, but I don't think our carrier is going to spot anything. The Tirpids, well, I thought he was gonna go mid, but he actually beached top of mid. So I don't really think we're gonna get to fight the Tirpids too much, to be honest. I hope we do, but it's unlikely. We got 8 pens and a fire on the Leander. That's really good. We got like 7,000 damage on the Leander. He just DCP'd as well. So if we can respot him here with the carrier, maybe, would be really cool, actually. Click the horn by accident. Where's the Leander, man? Hello? He's behind the struck from me either way, but... Oh, Leander turned around. They're completely, like, not fighting me here. I can't get a fight on with anyone. Because the Tirpids, for example, he was gonna push, like, the 7 line. And then he turned around completely when I shot him once. And then he came to the canal. And then he turned completely around again. It's like, okay, well, what do I do now? I guess we're just chilling, I guess, and getting some damage, I guess, now. I think now is the first time. In 8 minutes, it's the first time we can actually output some damage, which is really nice, because I really wanted to get some damage. The Tirpids, this is his first salvo of the match, actually, in 8 minutes. Which isn't too bad. But realistically, it's quite bad. Realistically. But it's okay. But it's okay. I'm gonna try output some damage on him. He just DCP'd, by the way. We know because there's white lights on his ship. They're very faint. Like, they're down here. I don't know if you see the white lights. I don't know if they're caught on YouTube. But basically, the white lights, Wargaming added this a few patches ago, maybe 10 patches ago. This was quite a while ago, actually, beginning of the year, maybe. When someone DCPs, they get like this white lights on their deck or on their superstructure. It's like an alarm, basically, of the DCP is online, you know? And now you can tell when some people are DCPing and when some people are just, the fire just ran out. But in this case, it was a DCP, which means if we light the permafire, it would be very wonderful right now, Wargaming. Thank you so much, Wargaming. We did get an insta permafire, which is wonderful and well-deserved, of course, as we know. We do need those fires, especially with someone who is literally hiding from us right now. He's trying his best to hide from us. We can punish then. That would be wonderful. So our spotter plane bonus is 20%. We have 17 kilometer range. 20% would be around, I don't know actually, on the top of my head. 20%, 10% would be 1.7. 20% would be 3.4. So 3.4 kilometers extra range. We could be able to actually shoot something here. So Tirpids has decided to suicide. Instead of fighting me, he has decided to suicide to 2 battleships. It's his choice, really and truly. If he wants to fight a tier 8 battleship instead of a tier 7 cruiser, that's up to him. We're gonna go this way. Oh my god, a Leander, how wonderful. He's here. Finally, we're able to shoot things. Comments? This game isn't over. It looks over, but it's not over yet. In terms of like our damage output is what I'm talking about. I think we can get some more damage. The issue is this Bismarck salvo that's gonna come in basically out of nowhere. But I think we dodged it quite successfully instantly because we slowed down quite quickly. That means we can keep trading with the Leander right now without suffering from the Bismarck too hard. The Congress did shoot us also. We're gonna have to accelerate for that very quickly so we don't die instantly. Because we are broadside to the Congress, and Congress, as we know, has pretty good AP. Doesn't have a lot of shells, but the AP is still pretty good. And sadly, the Leon died on the 10 line, which means we're not going to be able to farm him. What we can farm is that Tokachi, but there's a submarine with him, so we're going to have to deal with that somehow. And sadly, as we talked about in the port, we don't have air-based ASW, so we do have ship-based ASW, which is a huge disadvantage. It's not just a slight disadvantage, it's a huge disadvantage in a game like this, where there's other ships who have air-based ASW who can basically drop the submarines from 8 kilometers. Instead, we have to drive over the submarine, which makes it significantly harder. I don't think anyone can say it's not significantly harder for us to deal with a submarine. And the thing when it comes to a DD that can go over a submarine, maybe, but when it comes to a light cruiser, not really. You're gonna suffer quite hard, to be honest. That's why I prefer the battleship or the heavy cruiser ASW, in where you get, well, not ship-based. Obviously, there's some There are some ASWs with or heavy cruisers with sorry, I'm distracted with the submarine right now. There are some heavy cruisers with ship-based ASW like Hindenburg, and Venezia. But for most case, it feels like at least light cruisers get the ship-based. Actually, I don't think it actually matters. I think both classes seem to get pretty even now. This booster gets air base as well, I think. And that's incredible, actually. I mean, good for it, to be honest. Because if it didn't, that would be really depressing, to be honest. Let's go here and kill the Tokachi. I know we're kind of going off the map here, but I don't think we're going to get much damage this game. I just want to get this Tokachi kill. Now, this game was pretty much the enemy team completely avoiding us, completely locking us down here. Which was super unfortunate for our damage count, I must say. But, I mean, they did lose the game for it, so good on them. Realistically, we still win. So it's not that bad, I guess. Plus, it's a tier 7 cruiser. Like, I'm expecting to get 140k this game, but it's a tier 7 cruiser. It's not a tier 10 cruiser. Like, maybe if I was playing Nevsky, I was like, okay, maybe I can get 140k. But I think if we do get, like, around 80k damage... maybe something like that this match, it wouldn't be too bad. We already have our 80k damage. It is tier 7 after all. 5 pens on that guy. Now our issue here is we have no hydro on the submarine, so he can pop up any second now and one shot me. There he is. But I don't have any ASW like we talked about to deal with him. So we're gonna have to drive over him. Now, how are we gonna do that? Well, I don't really know, guys. But this is what we have to do in these super lights, right? Or these light cruisers. This is what we have to do, because these are our set rules of engagement set by Wargaming. We have to drive over the submarine. How many ASWs do we have? 6. So we have 6 bombs in the charge. So we should be able to start clicking G right now and start not damaging him. It depends where he turned. I don't think we're gonna start damaging him. Obviously he does move slower underwater, so we might actually be able to hit him here maybe with one of them. No, not really yet. I think he's in front of us right now, maybe. He's too slow to be in front of us. He could have turned... Oh, I hit him with 1. Hit him with 2, so he's there-ish. He's there-ish. We'll have a hydro in 2 seconds, so we're gonna be able to see him, I believe, unless he's further than 2. Okay, there he is. So, he could obviously suicide torp me here, which would be quite unfortunate. Quite. He's gonna double ping us, but that's... I mean, it's not really okay. But we can, I believe, DCP this and live. I should be switching to AP here, but I'm a bit distracted by the engagements, by the set rules of engagement that I have going on with this submarine right now. So firstly, I have to deal with the submarine. Then maybe I can think about playing my own game. But I can't think about playing my own game right now, because we have to deal with the set rules of engagement. The G's. Oh, I got him anyway. Let's go. Alright, now we're gonna run to the 10 line so we can try get the renown. But I think the game is over before this happened. No, we'll get him. We could also die. Our Silly Wangi is dominating the guy. Look. Wait. Hello? Press G. Gigacopium. Press G. You can't hit him with guns when he's 35 meters. Renown is actually gonna choose to sail full broadside to our Massachusetts, which is gonna be super unfortunate for our damage count. Well, we're already on 107k, so we're actually doing quite better than I expected, even in a match where everyone was kind of hiding, to be honest. And there goes Renown. Oh, we get him as well. Wow, we're so lucky, chat. Well, chat, comments, I guess. Let's take a look at the score. Alright, so we ended up doing 109,000 damage, 231 shell hits, 4 kills, 13 fires, 3 incaps, not too bad. Team score, we got 2nd place on the team, compliments to our Baltimore for playing quite well there. Good job on him. In terms of detailed report, we did 40k to the Leander, 13k to the Tokachi, 6k on the round, only 71 to the Congress. But then we got 47k on the Turpids and 1k on the U-190. As you can see, most of our damage is HE. We could have used AP this game, but I was a bit distracted by the submarine, so I didn't feel like switching ammo type. We received 16,000 damage ourselves. In terms of credits and XP, we got 481,000 credits, 7k XP, 800 free XP, and 8.8k Commander XP. In terms of our Commander build again, I have Last Stand, Priority Target, Survivability Expert, Concealment Expert, Adrenaline Rush, Top Grade Gunner, Demo Expert, and Grease the Gears. If you're asking me what are the first 10 points I would take, I'm just going to give you all the list of points I would take in order. You start off with Last Stand, and then Priority Target, Adrenaline Rush, and then Concealment Expert, and then Survivability Expert, and then Top Grade, and then Demo, and then Gun Feeder, and then Grease the Gears, or opposite way for the last two. In terms of equipment, I would take Prop Mod 1, Aiming System Mod 1, Engine Room Protection. You could take Hydro Search Mod 1, or, and then at the end you take Spotting Aircraft Mod 1. If you don't have it, take Main Armaments Mod 1. That's pretty much the Lazo. There you go. In terms of my statistics in the Lazo, if I can find them, this might take me a while to find now because I'm not that good at spotting a name out of thin air here. Now, I don't have a lot of games in the Lazo. It's not a ship I really play a lot, which I will mention in the final review section of this video. So I only have 13 games in it, 69% win rate, 100k average damage, but only a sample size of 13 games. But my record is 185k. Anyway, this is my stats in the Lazo. And then for the price of the Lazo, if we take a look at the armory, if it were to load up, I believe you can actually get this one for coal. Don't quote me on that yet. Let me find it. There it is. I see it. So you can get it. Well, you can get it for coal. So it's either for 83,000 coal or 8,300 doubloons. Here's the Lazo. And there's also, I believe it's also available in the premium shop if I can load that up. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to because I keep clicking armory, so I keep trolling myself basically. Go to tier 7 Soviet cruiser, 27 euros and 31 cents for the Lazo. But that leads me on to, is the ship worth it? I think the ship is alright for tier 7. I don't think it's a crazy ship. It could be good to grind the Soviet captains. It's not the worst. I still think it's definitely playable. As you saw, I mean, you could pretty much play it pretty easily. But then it comes to tier 9 matchmaking. You are going to suffer a bit into tier 9 matchmaking. But what cruiser at tier 7 doesn't? This is a light cruiser with no heal that has to play basically open water most of the time. But you do have the range advantage to spot the plane. In this game, I didn't get to use it that much. But you do have that additional range, so do make sure you're going to be using that in most games, especially into tier 9 games. But it's an HE spammer, guys. If you don't like HE spammers or things like this, maybe choose to get something else. Remember, it's super squishy, it's not tanky at all. So if you don't like ships like that, don't get it. But if you do like actually the challenge, and you do like you do like light cruisers, and you do like being fragile and having some form of firepower, it's actually pretty decent. I have to say, it's not a bad ship. It's not miserable. It's definitely playable. I actually don't mind it that much. The only thing I mind is the lack of pen you have against the high tier ships. But you do get a 14% fire chance, which is quite playable. In terms of coal, I mean, it's free if you get it for coal, but I wouldn't recommend getting it for coal either way, because you probably should be saving your coal for a tier 9 coal ship, or a tier 10 cold ship, then getting a tier 7 cold ship. In terms of doubloons, well, it's quite expensive at 27 euros. So if you don't have giga money in real life, I wouldn't really get it. If you have giga money where you can spend whatever you want, and you really want a light cruiser tier 7 that's Soviet, maybe a captain trainer or something, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. I think I'd rather play this than Ochakov, but we'll get to the Ochakov review in the future. So in summary, it's not a bad ship, but it's not a crazy good ship either. I think it's definitely playable. Something I forgot to mention is, if you're an experienced player, you're going to have a way better time than if you're a newbie. If you're a noob or you don't know how to play open water cruisers too well, I wouldn't really recommend getting this. But that's pretty much the review, guys. I hope you enjoyed this fresh look video. Like I said, if you have another ship you want to get featured in the fresh look tech trials or the thought process or the how I play series, please do let me know in the comments below. I will try to get to cover all of them, guys. That's the goal. It'll take me forever, because there's like 400 ships in my port, or 500 as you can see, so it will take me forever, but I'm going to try my best to cover as many as possible, okay? I appreciate you guys for all the support, and I'll see you in the next video. Big fan.